Hi everybody, it's Victoria here, and today I'd like to share with you some of my favourite books. Now, some of these books are old and some of them are new, but I really like them and I think that, you might like them too, so I thought I'd share them with you. So let's get into it. The very first book that I have is one called The Happiness Code by Dominique Bertolucci, and this is a sort of like I wouldn't say a self-help book so much, but it's more of a self-awareness book. And it's basically about 8 simple promises that you make to yourself. Sorry, I had to remember how many there were in the book. Basically, it's a book about looking after yourself, and it's a really nice book. My mum actually bought me another book by the same author called The Happiness Code, which is also a really great book. What I like about it is the style it's written in. It's kind of inspirational and it makes you feel really good when you read it. You often hear your own voice in the book sometimes. It's an interesting thing when that happens. So I highly recommend this book if you are after something to be kinder to yourself. And sometimes to put yourself first, and so I'd recommend that. The second book that I have is one about Philippe Starck. He's a French designer, and I don't know, I think he's a pretty cool guy. He's done a lot of really interesting things. It's a book filled with great pictures, interesting products that he's designed, and a little bit of a story about them. But I think as a designer of many different types of products, he's very interesting, and some of the things I think he has come up with, like the lemon squeezer that was made out of metal, I think was really cool. Just a lot of different things that he's done, which I just find really interesting. I actually bought this book for my brother, who is studying spatial design. But I think Philippe Starck, a great designer, very cool. Another book that is a classic, but a very good book. I think I've probably spoken about this many times before, but it's Alice in Wonderland. Because to me, Alice in Wonderland is one of the only stories, like childhood stories, I think I can relate to. I often feel like I am Alice, and what I like about this particular edition is that it has some of the old illustrations, the lithographs in them, and I don't know, there's just something about this book that I very much like. And it's a story that it's very interesting when you start looking at the story, but I'm not going to go too much into that. But I really enjoy this book. I enjoy most Alice in Wonderland themed everything. So this is a great book. Another book of mine that I really enjoy, just because of the layout of the book, is this one called The Field Guide to Hendrix. Now, those of you who know me personally know that I have a thing for drinks. I particularly like Hendrix gin because it's an exotic and interesting drink. And this book is basically a book of old-fashioned drinks that you can make at home. What would I recommend in here? Basically, there's a lot of different things. It depends on what you like, but for me, I like things that are a little bit different. So I've got some beautiful things like the usual suspects. The Silverhound Cobbler. So they're very sort of Englishy names, and I don't know, I'm quite fond of that. And this book is very cool. A very nice person in a wine shop actually gave me this book, and I am forever grateful to them. So I'm a big fan of fashion, as a lot of you know. A book that I really, really love that I picked up was this one by Alexa Chung called It. And Alexa is a real style icon in my eyes. And I don't know, there's just something about it that I feel like I can relate to, you know? Like, as a fashion person, I'm not really sure what I like about it. Sometimes I think fashion is ephemeral, but style is going to be something that you either have or you don't. Things like Alexa is a beautiful and interesting person, and she has great style. I think she's kind of like Keira Knightley, you know, she's dressed in Chanel and always looks good. Yeah, basically this book is a book if you're after something a little bit, perhaps not so much random. I wouldn't say it was random, I'd say it was a curation of clothing artifacts, people of note, of all kinds of stuff. But it's an interesting book anyway. I would totally recommend this. The very last book that I have is one all about Chanel. This is by Danielle Bott. And basically it's just a book about the key things that Chanel came up with, and you know, some of the signature pieces that she designed. I think when you see a Chanel piece, you know that it is Chanel. It's something about the signature of her cut, of her fabric, of the things that make it unique. And I think that, you know, she was very creative and very interesting. And as a person, very inspirational too. You know, she was an orphan and she came from little means and managed to make a really great success of herself. And I think that a lot of people in her position, you know, may not live up to those expectations or that kind of output, I suppose. But, you know, she's very inspiring, and even though she is no longer with us, she is someone who I look up to. She has a legacy in the fashion world, and to this day, the Chanel house is still just as strong as it was when she was still on Earth. So yeah, I'm just really inspired by Chanel, and this particular book is a beautiful book, and I highly recommend getting this in your house. It is a great book. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. This is everything that I wanted to share with you. I hope that you may have enjoyed some of these recommendations, and if you have any recommendations of things you're reading that you would like to share, please leave them in the comments below. Until then, I wish you guys all a fantastic week or a fantastic day or whatever you are, wherever you are, and I'll see you really soon. So thanks for watching. Bye!